Heading into 2026, it felt like the path forward was crystal clear. We'd seen inflation cooling down, the economy was showing signs of slowing, and pretty much everyone in the financial world was betting on one thing: interest rates were going to keep on falling. But then, almost overnight, everything got flipped on its head. That certainty just evaporated. And now we find ourselves right in the middle of what's being called the 2026 rate shock, a sudden dramatic shift that's carving a huge divide right down the middle of the economy. It's creating this great divergence between savers and borrowers. So in this explainer, we're going to break it all down. What exactly happened? Who's actually winning? Who's getting squeezed? And what does all of this mean for your money? And make no mistake, this isn't just some story for Wall Street traders. As financial analyst Abraham Sanioff points out here, this is a shockwave that's hitting kitchen tables all across the country. The decisions being made by the Federal Reserve right now, they are directly reshaping the cost of your mortgage, the return you're seeing or not seeing in your savings account, and the entire game plan for your investments. The era of predictable rock bottom rates is officially over, and we are all trying to figure out how to navigate this completely new financial world. All right, so here's the game plan for how we'll get through this. First, we're going to tackle the rate shock itself. What caused this sudden U-turn? Then, we'll zoom in on the Federal Reserve's big decision to hold the line. After that, we'll look at the two very different sides of this new reality: what's becoming a golden age for savers, and at the same time, a painful squeeze for borrowers. And finally, we'll pull back to see the bigger picture and what this means for the entire economy, which is really standing at a critical crossroads. So let's get right to the heart of it: the great divergence. You can think of it like a sudden, unexpected fork in the road for the economy. Just a few months ago, we all thought we were on one path, the path to lower interest rates. Well, that path has completely vanished. It has created this starkly divided landscape where your financial well-being really depends on one simple question: are you a saver or are you a borrower? To really get the scale of this shock, you have to rewind to late 2025. The story was written. The Fed had already cut rates 3 times. Big names like Goldman Sachs were forecasting even more cuts all through 2026. The market wasn't just hoping for cheaper money, it was pricing it in as a certainty. Now, fast forward to today, and that entire expectation has done a complete 180. Rates are holding firm, and the market is now dealing with the very real possibility of rate hikes later this year. The dream of cheaper borrowing? It's gone. So what in the world caused this economic whiplash? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was more like a perfect storm of inflationary pressures all hitting at once. First, inflation just stayed stubbornly high, well above the Fed's 2% target. A big part of that was soaring energy prices, with Brent crude oil recently jumping over $100 a barrel. And that is directly tied to the escalating geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, especially the conflict with Iran that's messing with oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. And then, to top it all off, other economic numbers, like industrial production, came in much stronger than anyone expected, which gave the Fed basically zero reason to start cutting rates. All of these pressures finally came to a head at the Federal Reserve's big meeting in March. And this wasn't just another routine policy announcement. This was the Fed drawing a line in the sand. The central bank found itself in a standoff with inflation, and its decision sent a very clear signal to the world that it would not be the one to blink first. So the headline decision was pretty straightforward. The Federal Open Market Committee voted to keep the main interest rate, the federal funds rate, steady at its current range. This was the second meeting in a row with no change, which really put a definitive stop to those rate cuts we saw in late 2025. Now, while some people expected this, it basically cemented this higher for longer reality for everyone. What's really interesting, though, is that the vote wasn't unanimous. One member actually voted for a cut, which tells you there's a very real debate happening inside the Fed itself. The justification for putting on the brakes, you can boil it all down to one number: 3%. That's the latest reading on the Consumer Price Index. Now, the Fed's official statement called inflation somewhat elevated, but the hard data shows it's still 1.5 times their official 2% target. And until that gap closes, and closes by a lot, fighting inflation is still job number one for the Fed, no matter how much pain it causes somewhere else in the economy. And if there was any doubt left, Fed Chair Jerome Powell erased it at the press conference. His words sent a very clear, very deliberate message. He said, "We are strongly committed to doing what it takes to keep inflation expectations anchored at 2%. Look, that's not just talk. It's a declaration that the Fed's credibility is on the line, and they are willing to keep money tight and even risk a slowdown to defend that credibility." Okay, but this high-rate environment, it's not bad news for everybody. In fact, for one particular group, it's pretty much the dawn of a golden age. If you're a saver, if you have cash sitting in the bank, the landscape has completely transformed. What was a barren desert for years is now a fertile oasis. This 2026 rate shock has created a massive opportunity to finally make your cash work for you again. This chart right here, it just perfectly captures the two different realities of saving money today. Over on the left, you've got the national average savings account, and it's yielding a pitiful 0.61%. That's what you're going to find in most big traditional banks. But then look at the right. You see the top high-yield savings accounts offering rates as high as 4.21%. That is nearly 7 times the return. For years, the difference was so small it didn't really matter, but now the cost of keeping your money in a low-yield account is enormous. You are literally losing purchasing power every single day you wait. And this isn't some abstract idea. As of right now, in March 2026, these are real FDIC-insured banks offering these incredible rates. You've got Open Bank at over 4%, VioBank just behind it, and a bunch of others like Lending Club and Bread Savings at a solid 4%. The really crucial thing to understand here is that for the first time in a long, long time, these rates are significantly higher than the current rate of inflation. That means your savings can finally generate real growth. You're actually increasing your purchasing power instead of just watching it get eaten away. If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This helps the channel grow, and check out the links in the description. If you're thinking about buying or selling, I can connect you with a top agent in your area, or if you need life insurance, my team and I can help you anywhere nationwide. But of course, this divergence has two sides. For every saver who's loving these high rates, there's a borrower who's really feeling the pressure. And this is the other half of the story, the painful squeeze on anyone who needs to take out a loan. We're talking about for a house, for a car, for a business. For them, the sudden stop in falling rates has just cranked up the financial pressure immensely. And nowhere is that pain felt more than in the housing market. I mean, this timeline of the 30-year fixed mortgage rate says it all. As of March 19th, the average rate hit 6.22%. That's a 3-month high, and it's a sharp, painful reversal from the downward trend that so many potential home buyers were counting on. An increase like this can add hundreds of dollars to a monthly mortgage payment, which pushes home ownership even further out of reach for a lot of people. And the pain isn't just with mortgages. If you're out there trying to buy a car, you're getting hit with a double whammy. Not only has the average price of a new car climbed to over $49,000, but the Fed's decision to hold rates steady means those auto loans aren't getting any cheaper. That lack of relief on financing is a huge blow to affordability, and it's locking a lot of potential buyers right out of the market. So, what's the forecast for borrowers? Well, the short answer is just profound uncertainty. I mean, just look at these forecasts from two of the biggest players in the industry, Fannie Mae and the Mortgage Bankers Association. They both think mortgage rates will gradually come down through 2026, but they completely disagree on how fast. Fannie Mae is a bit more optimistic, but the MBA thinks rates will stay higher for longer. And when the experts can't even agree, you know just how unpredictable things are right now. So we've seen the direct hit on savers and borrowers. Now for a final session, let's zoom out and connect these dots to the bigger picture. What does this great divergence really mean for the wider economy? The simple answer is that we are at an absolutely critical crossroads, staring at market turmoil, flashing recession signals, and a really fierce debate about what's coming next. The stock market is telling the story of this divergence perfectly. On one hand, you've got the energy sector, which has surged an incredible 25% so far this year. Companies like ExxonMobil and Chevron are absolutely thriving with $100 oil. But on the other side, you have sectors that are super sensitive to interest rates, like utilities. These companies carry a ton of debt to build their infrastructure, and they are under immense pressure right now. The high cost of borrowing is just eating into their profits, and their stocks are getting hammered. This is what analysts call a great rotation in action. Money is fleeing from sectors that need cheap debt and rushing into sectors that produce real, tangible stuff. Now, in the middle of all this turmoil, there's a technical term you're going to start hearing a lot more about. It's called bull steepening. For a long time, the yield curve was inverted, which means short-term interest rates were higher than long-term rates. That's a classic recession warning. A bull steepening is when that situation flips back, because long-term rates start rising faster than short-term ones. And while that might sound like a good thing, like things are getting back to normal, it can actually be the market's final warning flare before a real downturn. And the reason this has so many analysts worried is, well, history. The pattern leading up to past recessions has been almost eerily consistent. First, the yield curve inverts. Second, it stays inverted for a long time, which is exactly what we just saw. The third step is the uninversion, that bull steepening that's happening right now. And the final step, in past cycles, a recession has often followed within just a matter of months. So the question everybody's asking now is whether that clock is ticking once again. This leaves us with a handful of potential scenarios for where we go from here. The best case optimistic scenario is the soft landing, where the Fed somehow manages to perfectly cool inflation without crashing the economy. A much more pessimistic view is a period of stagflation, that toxic mix of high inflation and no economic growth. A third, very real possibility is just more of the same: continued volatility, where the markets get thrown around by geopolitical events. And then there's the hawkish scenario. If inflation doesn't cool off, the Fed could be forced to abandon its pause and actually start raising rates again later this year. And this all brings us to the final critical question. Is this great divergence, this massive split between the fortunes of savers and borrowers, is this just a temporary market glitch caused by a few months of stubborn data? Or are we witnessing the beginning of a whole new economic reality, one where higher inflation and higher interest rates are just the new normal? The answer to that question is going to define our financial world for years to come. If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This helps the channel grow. And check out the links in the description. If you're thinking about buying or selling, I can connect you with a top agent in your area, or if you need life insurance, my team and I can help you anywhere nationwide.